Live from Chicago, it's Chris Sells His Soul. I'm your host, Chris Bogue, and this is my weekly show on LinkedIn Live. Usually I have a guest, but today we're going to do a little bit different format of a show. Frankly, I'm exhausted. I love how these live episodes have been going. The problem is I have too much good content now. I've got amazing episodes that are in the pipeline. We had some great episodes last week. We had Nick Thickett. We had Lydia Allen. I'm going to be posting all those very shortly as podcasts, but I wanted to take today to just do a live session where I could hang out. So hello, Deb. Good to see you there. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. So I've been collecting feedback from the audience about what they like about the show, what they like about my content. And there's a lot of curiosity about the creation process. So I talk a lot on this show. Not only do I do entertainment, but I show you how to make it. And really my job as a coach and as a business owner is just trying to help everybody go out there and learn how to make really simple stuff using improv theory. So today what I'm going to do is we're going to watch some of the sketches that I've been putting on TikTok and LinkedIn lately. And we're going to talk comedy theory. We're going to break down some of the jokes. We're going to go through how I write jokes, how I write characters. And this is just going to be an open session. So jump in the audience. If you're there in the comment section, let me know you're here. Let me know what you're interested in learning about, or if there's any questions you have about writing comedy or any of the comedy that you've seen on my feed. And we're going to get started. So this first one that we're going to go through today is Vegeman's first ever episode. So this aired in the first week of January. This was an unexpected hit. I did not expect to be bringing Vegeman back all the time. But this sketch was a big hit, so I couldn't ignore it. So what we're going to do here first is we're going to just watch the sketch. And then I am going to jump back in and we're going to go through the sketch together, and I'm going to stop it and explain how I constructed some of these jokes. And if you have any questions, about Vegeman, if you have a Vegeman sketch you want to see up here, or if you just, have different comedy things you want to talk about, throw it in. But here, let's start by watching. This was Vegeman's first appearance in January. Ooh, okay. So I'm hearing that we didn't get audio. We didn't have audio in there. That's a bit of a problem. I'm going to stop sharing the screen again, and I'm going to reshare it. I might have to like hang out here. Can people in the audience hear me now? Am I getting sound? Okay. I just hope, give me another sign if I don't have sound. I hope that I'm back. I hope everyone can hear me. Let me check my sound settings. No. Okay. So, all right, we're going to reshare the screen again. Okay, so hopefully this is good. I'll hang out here. Cody, thank you for keeping me filled in on the sound. I'm going to try playing it one more time. Let me know if you still can't hear anything. You promised to turn this company into a rocket ship, and I think you did. What does that even mean? That means my work here is done. It's time for me to go. Yeah, I was just about to say you're fired. Well, guess this is goodbye, Bateman. Will we ever see you again? Maybe. Okay, I think I'm done with this bit. Thanks for watching, and go ahead. Okay, so, yeah, specificity. So first question here. So interested how you repurpose theory from something else and put it into business. So that's a great question, Cody. So improv actually has a lot of similar rules to how a sales call works. I did sales for about 10 years and I did comedy for a lot longer than that. I've been doing it since I was a teenager. And the idea with improv is you always want to be driving the action forward. There's always got to be some next step that you're doing. They train you in improv that you never want to be arguing. You never want to be fighting. You always want to say yes and. The rule is specifically yes and. So you have to go in there and no matter what it is, you have to find something you agree about. And every single decision you make in the scene should lead to something else. In improv, they teach you not to start arguing because if you're arguing, the scene is stuck in place and it's not going anywhere. And this is really useful in sales too, because if you've ever been in a sales call where say you start objection handling, somebody has an issue with one of the things you're doing, you start fighting, you can't tell them about any of the other features, right? You're kind of stuck in place until you find a way to move forward. Now, there's a couple things going on here with the video that really transfer well from improv. One we talked about is specificity. So the whole video is on specificity. And, if you've noticed that most of my videos have a really clear start, usually I'm giving you a lot of information about who the characters are and what situation they're in. You get that in like the first 3 seconds. And that's an improv trick. You have to very quickly let the audience know who you are, where you are, what kind of relationship the characters have to each other. So it's been really easy to just kind of jump into a sales situation and really kind of lay out all the context in a couple seconds. The other thing I'll say, and this is something we're going to watch the sketch again, but think about the rules of 3. If anybody at home is wanting to learn about comedy, there is a rule of 3s that has been around forever, and it doesn't just work in comedy. So this is a sales thing too. If you're ever going to use bullet points, make sure you have at least 3. And actually, you'll discover in comedy, not only is 3 the magic number, but multiples of 3 are actually the magic number. So you want to hit that joke. You want to go 1 and 2, and then the third one is the punchline. And if you're doing a joke that's a big list of things, you actually want to keep it in multiples of 3. So let's say I have a big list and there's more than 3 items in it. I want to hit a list of 6, or I want to hit a list of 9, or I want to hit a list of 15. Something about that number 3 is just really special in how human psychology works. I am not a psychologist, but I actually have my theory. It's because you're introducing an idea, and then you're furthering an idea, and then you're subverting the idea. So think about it like a knock-knock joke, right? Knock, knock. Who's there? Some stupid answer, right? The knock-knock establishes the idea. Who's there establishes a pattern, right? And now the punchline is usually not the thing you were expecting to get, but something similar. Same thing with like, why did the chicken cross the road? I don't know. Is it to go get some chicken food? No, it's the punchline. It's the same thing. And you're going to see here again with the hot dog gurgler, comedy comes in threes here. So let's watch the Vague Man sketch again from the beginning. I'm just going to break down some of these things that I'm doing here. Now, notice this is actually so if you actually see his arm here, so the hot dog gurgler's first appearance actually comes in the first second of the video. So this is something that happens so quickly, most of the audience might not even get it. They might miss it the first time through. But if you see there, the action is already happening. I am speaking, and the hot dog gurgler is stealing a hot dog from me. Anybody who's scrolling through and they see that hand sticking out, that's a reason for them to stop scrolling. So yeah, let's start this sketch.
Hi, I'm Chris Bogue, and today's word is specificity. Stop working on work, Bogue. I need you to train our newest employee, Vague. Hey there, Vague Man? Boss, we barely use the characters that we have.
Okay, so notice I am 10 seconds into the sketch, and I'm already giving the audience a lot to think about. I'm giving them more than they can handle because I'm fighting for their attention, right? And sales advice is a little bit dry, so you got to throw a lot of movement in there. So you'll notice a bunch of things have happened in that first 10 seconds already. We had the hot dog gurgler stealing on a hot dog. We had my boss, who was funny. He had a punchline. You have Vague Man, who we're going to get into that character in a second. And now you're cutting to me, and you're seeing two of me on the screen at the same time. The audience at this point is probably saying, what the hell is going on? And this is going to stop and get them to actually watch the video here. But I've also just given them a lot of context, right? So they already know this is me at work. I didn't have to tell them my boss is my boss, right? They just see the way he's standing. They see the way he's talking to me. They see the way he's reprimanding to me. We've already established a character relationship. We've established a situation. They have the what, they have the who, they have the why, and now we have the premise of the scene, right? There is a character named Vague Man, and I have to train him. So let's keep it rolling.
Why don't we get the hot dog gurgler a bit? Oh, he just yanked your hot dog. Vague Man's
Okay, so I actually thought the hot dog gurgler was going to be the character that was the fan favorite. I did not expect Vague Man to be such a fan favorite. So the thing about Vague Man is I'm joking about him being vague here. He's actually very specific. And specifics, that is the name of the game in improv, right? You have no costumes, you have no set pieces, you have no script. You have to have some way, if you're doing like a long form set where it's like 60 minutes long, you have to have some way to signify to your audience when you come back 40 minutes later as the character you introduced in the beginning of the show. And that's how you do it in improv, right? And you're going to see some of the tips that I use in here. The hot dog gurgler is pretty darn specific too. If you haven't noticed, it's just the Hamburglar. It's just the Hamburglar, folks. I picked that costume up for $10, and I'm like, you know what? It's just he is a part of the species of character that the Hamburglar is, right? So again, very easy joke. You see the hot dog, you see the prison stripes, you see me going shh. It's not fucking rocket science. Like, he's gonna take the hot dog. If you leave hot dogs around the hot dog gurgler, he'll steal them. So yeah, let's meet Vague Man now. What is Vague Man's job?
job is add value because he is a rock star. You're a musician? No, he does nothing that a rock star does. What does he do? A little bit of everything. You better train him good, Bogue. Train him to do what? Ooh, here's a crazy idea. Maybe you could sell something. Or teach us all a lesson about business using improv fundamentals.
Okay. So Jennifer asked an interesting question here. 10 seconds. Is that the sweet spot of time to hook their attention? I have bad news for you. It's actually more like 3 seconds. It's very easy for someone to just scroll past a video, which is why I caption all of my videos. I load a ton of goodies into the start of my video. There's a reason why I'm always playing an instrument, or I've got a crazy prop, or those first couple seconds are really make or break. there's all sorts of decisions that the audience is making about like, am I going to stop and watch this piece of content? And if it looks like it's going to be static from the get-go, it is hard to get someone to commit to that. But yeah, let's talk about Vegeman here. There's something universal about this way that he's speaking, right? He introduces himself as a rock star who's going to add value. And that's an example of specificity where I can't make that joke in front of every audience. If I go to a bar and I say I'm a rock star who adds value, no one's going to understand what I'm doing. But the fact that I got out here on LinkedIn, I am keyed into my audience enough to know that they are going to recognize these phrases. So it's easy to just throw them in and have fun with them. And the audience picks up on it quickly without having to explain a lot of context to them.
Shortcut in storytelling. Whether you're making a cold call or getting into an improv scene, the audience has zero context for what they're about to see. In an improv scene, you never want to start in a bar by saying, I'll have a drink. That's a weak choice, so we call that Vegeman. No offense, Vegeman, that's fine. I don't stand up for myself ever. It's much stronger to say, bartender, I'll have a PBR tall boy. Or bartender, I'll take a Macallan neat. Or bartender, love the Cantina band. Can I get one of those milks that looks like it has Windex in it? Changing one specific phrase completely alters the trajectory of it.
Okay, so that example that I gave there is like my go-to improv example. And you could imagine if, we did a scene, if I was doing like a long form improv set and I had some sort of Wookiee character and I was in the bar and I was going, and, I go up to the bartender and I go, oh, can I have one of those, Windex? They're the blue Windex looking drinks. 20 minutes later, if I come into a scene, I'm like, barkeep, one blue Windex. The audience instantly knows what I am. Right. And this is very important in a scenario like an improv scene where you don't have costumes, you don't have anything really to signify to the audience who you are other than what you say and how you're acting. I use this philosophy in sales too, right? That first 10 seconds of a cold call is a lot like the opening seconds of an improv scene. So I drop context right away. I drop a name. I drop a company they'll recognize, a buzzword that they'll recognize, some things that they know. I understand who they are.
Vegeman's kind of a crappy character because...
Okay, so this bit here, so every little interaction I have in my videos, they're all like these collections of these little like 10-second bits, basically. And so this one here, we're up to the 3, right? So you had Vegeman you had the hot dog gurgler steal the first hot dog. Then there was a second hot dog when I was trying to argue that he should have a bit. So now I'm sitting over here, and this is a drier part of the video, right? I'm giving straight narration here. There's a good chance I might lose my audience. So what do? I put the hot dog in the shot because the audience is going to sit there and think that hot dog burglar is going to come back and he's going to steal it. So watch what we do.
He's too vague. The hot dog burglar is much funnier because he's specific. We understand what his deal is. Why I ought him.
Okay, so again, it's a very simple bit. The audience expects one thing to happen, right? Because they've seen this happen twice already. Guy's going to come in and grab the hot dog. Guy's going to grab the hot dog. I'm sitting here giving a monologue. They're waiting for that hot dog to get stolen. Here I come with the stupid laughing again. Well, now I flip the tables on them. Now I go, oh, I'll get you. Or what I say? I said, why I oughta? Because old-timey language is funny. That's just a thing I learned from The Simpsons is saying weird old-timey things is super funny. And so that was the third bit, capping off hot dog burglar.
Get specific right away. Mention your name and then mention one specific thing that the other person will identify. Maybe it's the name of their product. Maybe it's a publication that wrote about them recently. Or maybe it's something they posted on social media. Whatever it is, say it with confidence and say goodbye to Vegeman. Vegeman, you promised to turn this company into a rocket ship. And I think you did. What does that even mean? That means my work here is done. It's time for me to go. Yeah, I was just about to say, you're fired. Well, I guess this is goodbye, Vegeman. Will we ever see you again? Maybe. Okay, I think I'm done with this bit.
Okay, so yeah, that's Fagman. And again, even on his way out, he was incredibly specific, right? The joke is that he's infuriatingly non-specific, but that is a specific choice, you know. And you know, even at the end there, him flying away, the fact that it says slide whistle in the captions, that's an incredibly specific sound. And yeah, these little specific recognizable things, that's where the comedy comes from. It's the little details, you know. And is anybody interested, does anybody want me to talk about how I do that effect where I am playing multiple characters at the same time? Is that something people have any interest in? Ooh, here's another question too, from Deb. Always associated improv with humor. So how do you best use improv when you're talking about a serious business related topic? The trick is improv is not about going for jokes. It's actually about finding the humor in the scene, right? So you'll notice in that scene, like we're making fun of Vague Man, but he's like, actually, he has an outcome. Like that is his job. He is a rock star. And you know, actually, we'll go. I'm going to queue up another movie here. So Deb, actually, we can use Vague Man's Ukraine episode to show how like improv and comedy can be used in a serious context too. I want to just where's this at? Okay, so let's get okay. So yeah, so this is a good one to stop on. So this effect looks cool, right? So you see two of me in the shot. I do a lot of this, right? And this is because this is a very eye-catching thing to do. People do this on TikTok all the time. All of a sudden, when you see somebody has cloned themselves on screen, that's a little bit of wizardry, as I like to call it. An audience will look at something like this and they'll think, how the heck did I do, or how the heck did he do that? And what I'm doing is these are two separate pieces of footage that you're seeing, right? These are actually, these are three separate pieces of footage. So the first thing that I do is I leave the camera running. So the first thing you have to do if you want to have a shot where you've got multiple characters all played by the same person, you have to make sure that the camera is in the same spot and doesn't move. So I'll use like a tripod like this, and I'll set it up and I'll make sure that it's framed. And the first thing I do is before I'm in the shot, I start the camera and I get a shot of what it looks like with no characters in front of it. So that's step one. Step two is I put on a costume, right? So first I put on the prison costume and I go there. The camera's still running, right? But I switched costume. And now what I do is I go into the shot and I do the bit where I'm, you know, taking the hot dog. And then I still leave the camera running. I switch into a t-shirt and then I go do the narration. And then what I do is first I have at the base is just the image, right? So it's a static image of the background. Then I take the film that's me as the narrator and I cut myself out of it. You can actually, if you look close enough, I've made a mask that goes around me and it's just me cut out here in front of a background. Right. And I do the same thing with the hot dog gurgler. I just crop out like this is a video here, but he's just cut out. And this is just like a still background in the image. So you can do it. Again, you gotta make sure that it is one camera shot. You got to make sure the camera stays completely still when you go out and switch the characters. And then you got to layer them on top of each other. But yeah, that is something that I do. It's a fun effect. And my advice for you is one, do it fast because the shadows are going to change. The lighting is going to change if you wait too long. And also don't move a lot. I'll actually show you here, Jennifer. So now watch, you can actually see one of my mistakes here. Watch how like the shadows get a little weird when I shake my fist. It happened in half a second, but there's some unnatural movement happening there with the shadows. And that's because whenever I do one of those multi-character things, I actually try to sit perfectly still. When I go do this, that actually gave me like an extra hour of work because now I've got to keep the mask and I've got to animate each frame. So it's like I'm constantly making different masks. If I can do a shot where I'm just sitting there at the desk not moving, I can do that done much faster. So you'll notice whenever I do those multi-character shots, usually my narrator is not moving very much at all. I want to talk about Ukraine. So yeah, we're going to talk about my Ukraine video next. And this was an interesting one. Sometimes I will do a video that is not as funny. Sometimes I will talk about a serious topic. And Deb, actually, you associate improv with humor. I have actually done full-length improvised plays that were dramatic, there were funny moments in them, but the point was not to be funny. The point was actually to create a full-length play that feels like a real experience. So I'm going to talk about this TikTok I did with Vague Man on Ukraine. So first, let's just watch this.
It's your old pal Vageman with a little bit... Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your old pal Vageman with a little bit of advice for all you rockstar content creators who want to figure out what the heck you're going to say about Ukraine. My suggestion is maybe you don't need to say anything at all, especially if you're a LinkedIn influencer like good old Vageman and nobody has asked you for your opinion. There's a reason for that. It's probably because you're not an authority, and maybe you only started reading about Ukraine very recently. In that case, you could just do what I do and listen to people who know more than you. You can follow the link in this video description to donate money to Doctors Without Borders and make sure that the people in Ukraine who need medical help get it. Or you can listen to journalists who are on the ground in Ukraine trying to share their stories and boost their signal. But maybe it's even more complex than that. Maybe you live in Russia and you're watching what your country is saying and you're watching news trickle in and you're thinking, I don't know what I think about this. That's fine. That's fine. And if this doesn't describe you and you do know what you want to say, you can go out there and say it, even if that's just changing your profile picture. But I'm telling you, if you're watching TV and you're seeing atrocities happen and you can't find the words, that is normal. It is hard to explain what is happening right now. And if you don't feel like posting about it for a day or 2 days or a week, you can still mourn those lives when you're ready. You can mourn those lives a year from now when the media has moved on to something else. And as for Vageman, I think if it's okay with you, I'm just going to try to keep it vague. That's what my audience looks to me for. There's no time to explain. Vageman, I need you in the kitchen right now. My boss is about to be here any minute, and you need to make a souffle. Yeah, that's him! Here we go again.
Okay. So, obviously that one was not my funniest one, but it wasn't intended to be. So Deb, let's dig into a little bit about like, where did this come from? Why did I make this? Why did I decide on this take? I was trained at the Second City, and that's all satire. They're teaching you how do you satirize the news, how do you satirize pop culture, how do you satirize yourself, how do you satirize the city of Chicago. And sometimes you're dealing with a really serious topic. And this is a serious topic. And I wanted to do something about it that was relatable and that was still funny, but something that actually captured the seriousness of what's happening. And, I was very careful with this one not to make something that would belittle what's happening in Ukraine right now. I am not making fun of the Ukrainian people. I'm not even making fun of the Russian people in this one. I'm not even making fun of Vladimir Putin. What I'm doing is I'm trying to find the part of this that I can actually relate to. And that's being a person on LinkedIn who is not a Ukrainian expert. And, I actually disagree with, there is like this rush sometimes when breaking news happens where everybody's got to go out there and make their opinion known. And, I'm all for people sharing their opinions, but a lot of times what happens is you have people talking out of their ass about stuff they don't understand. And that actually is something you can find humor in. And you can do that without belittling what's happening to the people of Ukraine. You know, so I chose Vagueman for this job because who the fuck is going to ask Vagueman for advice on what they should do about Ukraine, right? That is obviously the last person you would go to if you wanted to understand what was happening in Ukraine. And I was trying to make the point, that if you're a LinkedIn influencer, people don't care about what you have to say about Ukraine. They'd actually probably rather you donate money or maybe lend your platform to somebody who could understand the conflict better, who could help your audience understand better than you can. So this was like an example of like, how do you go out there? And, I start with the comedy. Like, look at how, like, there's a very sincere message in the middle of this, right? But if I came out there self-serious from the beginning, it probably wouldn't have worked. So again, this is a serious piece where I wanted my audience to donate to Doctors Without Borders. Check out how this starts.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your old pal Vagueman with a little bit of advice for all you rockstar content creators who want to figure out what the heck you're going to say about Ukraine.
Now, again, that first intro is big for like, how are you going to hook your audience, right? So again, look at all the crazy stuff that has already happened. One, you've got captions there. Again, I always caption everything. Two, you've got a vertical video this time, which sticks out on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is not a vertical platform. You've got me in a Ukrainian flag now, which is, at the time you were seeing Ukrainian flags. This is a departure from my normal structure. And then again, it starts, I'm in front of this vague background. I've got this ridiculous orange cape. I'm playing this stupid slap bass like it's a joke. And I'm about to talk about LinkedIn influencers and Ukraine, and there's an element of danger here, right? The people are probably wondering if I went too far. We're going to go through and say, what the hell did he do? And I'm using that curiosity because I'm a marketer. I have to market myself. I have to market my content. I'm trying to figure out what's the least self-serving way I could deliver a message like this. And I'm doing two things here. One, I'm helping the audience relax, right? Because there's a bigger chance that I'm going to say something stupid than them, right? They're just here out of curiosity, probably. And then check out, the next step here.
My suggestion is maybe you don't need to say anything at all, especially if you're a LinkedIn influencer like good old Vagueman and nobody has asked you for your opinion.
Now, I put that line in there for a very specific reason, and that was to disarm my audience, right? I did not want my audience to feel attacked. That's a very tricky line you got to walk with satire. I do not like preachy comedy. I feel there's a lot of preachy, really divisive comedy out there that's mostly about making fun of people. So what I do with a line like that, I go in there. If you're an influencer like Vagueman, probably nobody's asked you for your opinion on Ukraine. What I'm doing is I am taking some of that shame that the audience might feel, and I'm putting it on myself. It's like, okay, maybe you don't know what to say about Ukraine, audience, but I'm fucking Vagueman. Okay. So believe me, out of all the influencers on LinkedIn, Vagueman is the last one they're going to go grab to give a speech about Ukraine, right? So immediately this establishes goodwill with my audience. I'm on their level. They don't know what I'm going to say. But yeah, I'm commenting on it from an angle that they can understand because they're all content creators too. And, here I am. So
there's a reason for that. It's probably because you're not an authority and maybe you only started reading about Ukraine very recently. In that case, you could just do what I do and listen to people who know more than you. You can follow the link in this video description to donate money to Doctors Without Borders and make sure that the people in Ukraine who need medical help get it.
Now, this is another thing I do, right? And this is the thing where I depart from a lot of comedians because a lot of comedians go out there and they will do their comedy bit about how this group of people is stupid or this group of people is ruining the country. And what I try to do, if I'm going to touch on a very specific topic that's going to maybe ruffle some feathers because I'm pointing to some sort of injustice or I'm satirizing something that's happening in the world, I always want to give the audience something they can do other than just feel bad about it or go, troll a bunch of people online about their politics. And in this case, I'm letting them know because I saw a lot of guilt going around LinkedIn about people who felt they weren't saying enough about, the invasion. So, hey, anybody, if you don't know what to say, if you don't know how to make a status, if you're feeling guilty about that, you can go donate money to this organization, right? Or you can support journalists in Ukraine. And yeah, at this point, the audience is probably realizing that this is a little bit more serious than they thought they were going to get, right? But again, you got to figure out what you're doing with your platform. And sometimes you have a responsibility to say something responsible and not just go for the joke. So,
or you can listen to journalists who are on the ground in Ukraine trying to share their stories and boost their signal. But maybe it's even more complex than that. Maybe you live in Russia and you're watching what your country is saying and you're watching news trickle in and you're thinking, I don't know what I think about this. That's fine.
Okay. So, I don't think people in Russia are watching my show, but maybe they are. I don't know. Content is a weird thing. You can be talking to people from anywhere. Again, I am not an expert on foreign policy, but I know enough about history to know that there is a tradition of aggressive propaganda from that country. Its people are highly propagandized. And yeah, what's happening on state television in Russia is probably not the same thing that's actually happening on the ground. There are civilians being massacred in Ukraine right now, and that's not being reported on Russian state TV, but people in Russia, they have the internet, and again, I'm trying to sit here and figure out not how am I going to make fun of the person who's wrong, but how am I going to explore what it feels like to be in this situation? And here I really did want to just put myself into the feelings of someone from Russia who's I'm just thinking I don't know what the hell is happening. I don't know if this is good or bad. I'm just going about my day. What else we got here?
That's fine. And if this doesn't describe you and you do know what you want to say, you can go out there and say it. Even if that's just changing your profile picture. But I'm telling you, if you're watching TV and you're seeing atrocities happen and you can't find the words, that is normal. It is hard to explain what is happening right now. And if you don't feel like posting about it for a day or 2 days or a week, you can still mourn those lives when you're ready. You can mourn those lives a year from now when the media has moved on to something else.
Okay. So this is the most serious I've ever been on video here. I really don't get this serious in my LinkedIn content. So two things are happening here, right? So one, I am surprising my audience, and I do this frequently because they are not always just getting jokes from me. That is a difference between me and some of these other companies. I will go for the serious point sometimes because I am a person and I'm putting my point of view out here. The other thing that I'm doing, which is a little bit more selfish, is I'm setting up this final bit to land, right? I'm making this sincere point. I'm looking straight at the audience. My voice is getting softer. The audience might be sitting here thinking oh my God, is he going to start crying? Because it looks like he might. And, what's going to happen is it's actually just going to help this last bit punch hard, right? Because I've always got a bit. I've always got something baked into the end of my video to get people watching there. So I'm setting you up for the sincerity, but this is how we're going to end it.
And as for Vagueman, I think if it's okay with you, I'm just going to try to keep it vague. That's what my audience looks to me for. There's no time to explain. Vagueman, I need you in the kitchen right now. My boss is about to be here any minute, and you need to make a souffle. Yeah, that's him! Here we go again.
Okay, so and that ending too, the ending is unexpected. I go, here we go again. And if you're watching this on TikTok, the video loops, right? So that's why that ending is made. That's made to get them to watch it a second time. But yeah, you're actually going to notice in my comedy, the reason why some of the bits hit so hard is not because they're particularly funny, but because they're particularly funny when you juxtapose them with the thing you just saw. So if I'm giving you this really sentimental, serious energy, and all of a sudden there's a laugh track and I've got a stupid hat out of nowhere, and I'm mugging to the camera, and I'm panicked because my boss, and you hear the thumping on the door, and I go, oh, he's coming. All of a sudden it's zany. And the fact that just a moment ago you were there and you were about to take out your wallet, and donate to Doctors Without Borders, you're just getting this unexpected rush of emotion. Isn't necessary to say something about every topic or every issue. So Jennifer, this is a good question because okay, what was that? Okay, so yeah, sorry, I was just reading the comment thread. Okay, so yeah, this is actually well, so I believe any topic can be funny. And part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing out here is with my content, I have to show the business world that improv training and performance training and script writing and on camera ability, I have to show all of them that this is powerful stuff. And one of the things about improv is you don't get to pick your suggestion. You know, when you go to the audience and say, I want a suggestion, throw out a word. If somebody says tangerine, you got to do a show about tangerine, you know, and if someone yells out wet cardboard, you have to be able to do a show about wet cardboard, right? You don't get to go around fishing for another suggestion. You're just supposed to go. And yeah, so in an improv scene, you really just got to go with what's in front of you. And you learn that, you know what, I can make a scene about wet cardboard interesting, you know, with a little bit of discovery, right? So first you got to think, why is the cardboard wet? You know, is that because my roof is leaking and all my stuff is boxed up and all my records and my record collection just got damaged because my ceiling is caving in? Maybe the cardboard is wet because it's snowing and I'm throwing a party out in Alaska and I've got a case of beer buried in the snow and me and all my buddies are drinking. All of a sudden there's a scene. Now all of a sudden you have a location, you have you know, a type of person. You can do a lot with that. So Jennifer, I always say, like, when you're a comedian, you have to show the audience that you're not afraid to go after anything. And you know, part of what I'll do sometimes here is I'll pick a topic that's not funny. I'll pick Ukraine. I'll pick accessibility. I'll pick sales enablement because that stuff is thought of quote unquote boring. But if you focus on the people, if you focus on what is it like to experience this, what do people think this profession is versus how it actually is, you discover what's real. And inside of what's real is what's relatable. And that's what people are usually laughing at when there's a joke. They're laughing at what they identify about it. So I always say, if you don't want to go there, don't go there. You know, it's your content. You decide what you want to make it about. Yeah, I believe anything can be funny, but it is better to do it with, like, don't step outside of your realm of knowledge. Right. So I could probably have a much sharper and more satirical scene if I was working with a Russian writer or a Ukrainian writer. You know, they have more context about what's happening on the ground. It's hard for me to go out there and make jokes about that. But I am a LinkedIn content creator and I can make jokes about what it's like to deal with other LinkedIn content creators who are talking about Ukraine. So I'd rather tell jokes from my own point of view because that's what's going to be honest. And that's what the audience is going to recognize is, oh, this guy isn't just making stuff up. This is smart. This is coming from a place that's real. So let's watch another. What do we got here? Let's watch the Valentine's Day one. This is another example of, like, I'm really trying to push the bar on LinkedIn. And back to Jennifer's question here. You know, I run my own business and I am marketing myself. I am limited on budget. I'm limited on resources. I don't have this, you know, extensive marketing content team that all these companies have. So I need to rely a lot on word of mouth and I need to rely a lot on getting noticed. Yeah, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll show up talking about the things that I shouldn't talk about, or I'll show up using language that's not typically used in the business world, or I'm always trying to turn heads. And yeah, this was one that I did on Valentine's Day. And again, I am trying to go to some strange places that people can't go. And yeah, this was like me kind of going out on a limb here. But again, I just do strange things and see how they go. So let's watch my Valentine's Day TikTok.
Hey there, Valentine. I know, LinkedIn is not a dating website, but I'm excited that you and I are breaking the rules together. I got you a bear. Thought that was cute. I got you a cupcake because you're so sweet. I guess you can't eat it. I should have thought about that. Honestly, I don't even know what I'm doing here. I promise I never send messages like that on LinkedIn. I just such a crush on you. You're just so beautiful and your content is so intelligent. And every time you comment on one of my videos, it makes me so happy. And I'm rambling. I'm talking too much. I'm sorry, I do that. It puts people off. Can I serenade you? I'm sorry, I don't understand how to play this instrument. I should have used a real saxophone. Probably would have been sexier. I'm trying too hard, aren't I? I think we need more wine. Waiter, I'll have your finest glass of wine. It's red.
Okay, so yeah, that was a strange one. So what was going on in my head when I made that? Well, one, it was Valentine's Day, and I found that, you know, the holidays are just a great vehicle for content. I try to hit all the major holidays. I hit April Fool's Day, Valentine's Day, New Year's, Christmas, Halloween. These are just things where it's like, one, your prospect might be slacking that day. And two, there's a reason to click on it, even if they're not interested in buying your stuff. And as a sales rep, I always used holidays as a way to reconnect with people in my pipeline who I needed to call, but I couldn't figure out how to get back on their radar. So it's been a very integral part of my business. So I wanted to make a Valentine's Day sketch. And again, there's, if you actually go read the post, there's actually, I kind of wrapped it up in a quasi-serious package, right? Because any of the women who are in the comments thread right now might know that it's very common for men to hit on women on LinkedIn. And I'm not okay with that. That's not something you should be doing. You know, again, I don't like the preachy comedy, but if you notice, like pretty much every woman on LinkedIn has experienced this at some point. Men will hit on them, and it's a distraction. It's like all of a sudden it takes up mental space, and like they got to figure out, like, am I going to say something to this guy? Am I going to ignore him? Am I going to get mad at him? You know, it's a really difficult thing that they're dealing with. So when this video was posted on LinkedIn, I had it packaged by saying LinkedIn is not a dating website. You know, don't hit on people on LinkedIn. Don't comment on people's appearance on LinkedIn. But I figured the best way to get that across was to break the rules and go on a date with the audience. You're not supposed to ask the audience for dates. So what I did is I did that in a comedic context. And you can see from the very start of, okay. So, yeah, so sorry, I was just getting lost in the comments there. So look at how this video starts.
Hey there, Valentine.
Okay, that one line, that is one sentence. We are 1 second in the video. I have established who we are and what we're doing, right? I toast the glass of the camera. I say, hey there, Valentine. The audience already has all the information they need. It is me and them on a date together. And because it's safe, because I'm not going into their inbox and asking them for a date, I can push the envelope here. And you're going to see I really lean on the awkwardness of this situation to generate the jokes. And this is one sketch. This is actually probably like 5 or 6 different bits. But watch here and remember the rule of 3. Right. So you're going to notice there's this little rhythm that's happening that's, you know, moving me from bit to bit. So, hey there, Valentine.
I know. LinkedIn is not a dating website, but I'm excited that you and I are breaking the rules together. I got you a bear.
1.
Thought that was cute. I got you a cupcake.
2.
So sweet. I guess You can't eat it. I should have thought about that.
3. So you see there, so it's like you start out, there's the hook, you're on a date with me, here's the 1, here's the 2, and now things are getting kind of weird. And I always learned in improv, I always talk about this idea of yes and, right? So 2 characters, one says yes, the other says yes, you know, they're adding, they're not fighting each other. Some people say like, well, isn't that boring then? Who wants to watch a scene with 2 people who just agree on everything? But I've learned in improv that the scene that's going very well and then it takes a weird turn, the seduction scene that fails is more interesting than the one that goes successfully. So this is a failed seduction scene, and I'm doing it in part because 1, this is an avenue where I can make myself the butt of the joke. The joke is going to be how embarrassing I am and how cringy and vulnerable I am. And you as the audience, again, are sitting here with this idea of like, what is going to happen next? Because I already pulled a glass of wine out. I pulled a bear out. I pulled a cupcake out. These are not items that you expect me to have. So clearly I've got some tricks up my sleeve. Clearly I'm bringing things into the scene. The question is, where is he going to go with this? And because I've started this in a highly inappropriate way, you know, I'm publicly going on a date on LinkedIn. The audience's curiosity is probably going to get them to watch the video. So let's see where this goes.
Honestly, I don't even know what I'm doing here. I promise I never send messages like that on LinkedIn. I just have such a crush on you. You're just so beautiful and your content is so intelligent. And every time you comment on one of my videos, it makes me so happy. And I'm rambling.
Okay. So this is one of those ones where it's like, okay, we're on a date together. I'm also having fun here because like I don't talk about it a lot, but occasionally women have sent me inappropriate messages. You know, that is a thing. And I'll just respectfully be like, oh, thanks for enjoying the content. But yeah, it's like, I'm kind of having some fun with this because again, this is a way where it's like, I'm having fun with the audience. We're having a game together. But yeah, now it just got too real. And the audience is probably sitting here going, uh-oh, am I in too deep here? Where is this guy going to go with this? Right. So I am here. I am desperate. I put myself on a limb here. The audience can either accept me or reject me. And I'm coming on too strong. Right. So they're probably going to reject me. So I got this incredibly awkward moment set up. What am I going to do next?
I'm talking too much. I'm sorry. I do that. It puts people off. Can I serenade you?
Okay. So now the audience is like, what? You know, this is very self-aware. So again, this is more of just kind of like a shit show that the audience is trying to find. So here I am coming on way too strong, way too hard. You know, this is too much for someone on a date to handle. So I got to liven it up, right? I got to do something light. Boom.
I'm sorry, I don't understand how to play this instrument. I should have used a real saxophone. Probably would have been sexier.
Okay, so the fact that I just pulled that thing out of nowhere. I've been playing this for a couple weeks now. When I first made this video, I owned this thing for like 2 hours. I did not know how to play it. So again, we talked about earlier how I will purposely set up the moment before that to juxtapose this, right? So maybe it looks like the video is going to go somewhere cringy. Maybe it looks like it's going to go somewhere inappropriate. The fact that I pulled out this ridiculous instrument and played this crazy, stupid song with a straight face punches so much harder because I just had that really unguarded moment of vulnerability. And now I got to close out the sketch strong.
I'm trying too hard, aren't I? I think we need more wine.
And the audience just sits there and thinks, is this real wine? Is this real wine?
Wait.
Okay, so that was another one where I knew I wanted to drink that wine. I knew that would just be a funny bit. I've got these giant wine glasses. And yeah, I have to get out of the conversation somewhere because I went too hard in on this and it didn't work. So now I have this glass of wine and I order another one and it's not coming fast enough. And then the audience gets to, it's actually hard to maintain eye contact too. I mean, maintain eye contact through that whole time. And this surprise ending again was made for TikTok.
I think we need more wine. Waiter, I'll have your finest glass of wine. It's red.
Now, again, this is TikTok. So if you're making stuff on TikTok, it's nice when it loops. And again, that's that little 2-second surprise. You don't expect Vague Man to be the waiter. But I was teasing it on my live stream. I had been setting that up. Hey, I might be going on a big Valentine's Day date soon. Vague Man's been moonlighting as a waiter. So I was doing that to build a little bit of excitement in my feed. And then, it's just, I'm full of surprises here. Okay, Jennifer asks, so I love that you laugh as you watch your video. Okay, was it real wine? It was not real wine. It was food dye. I have 2 takes of this video. One I can't show you because I threw up. Originally, I had a little bit of grape juice in there to thicken it, and it was too much. All that sugar made me throw up. So there's a much funnier version of this sketch where it ends by me just going, whoa, and I throw up on myself. I'm like, that's too gross. LinkedIn can't handle that. And yeah, Jennifer, I actually do laugh. I didn't, I used to write with a comedy sketch group. I had a writing partner, and I had different actors and comedians that I worked with. And my writing partner and I always knew we had a good sketch if we were just cracking up. If we could make the other laugh during the read, then it was probably a good sketch. You could probably make an audience laugh. And yeah, I didn't really expect it. But now that I'm my own writer and actor and editor, if I'm editing one of these videos and I'm laughing, I know the audience is going to laugh too. And yeah, that's kind of the trick of comedy is, can you make yourself laugh? If I'm sitting there and I think the premise is funny, my audience is probably going to find it too. Also, I doubt she's in the audience here. But Leslie Vinay, I think her last name is Vinitz. I accidentally sent this video directly to her on TikTok because I didn't realize I was sending it to her TikTok. I'd sent it out to my comedian friends first because I wanted them to like stitch it or just like watch it. So I sent it to Sales Feed. I sent it to like a couple of these like comedy sales companies. And I sent it to Leslie because her TikTok handle is Sales Tip Talks. I forgot that was her. I thought that was like some like organization. And she was creeped out. She's like, I think this is a joke. This is kind of a stalkerish thing to send to somebody. And I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry, Leslie. But yeah, so that's my little deep dive into comedy here. So I hope you all enjoyed listening to me and asking me questions about sketch comedy. I have been experimenting with maybe doing more of these sessions. So you saw me last week. I was doing TikToks live. I might be doing more live improv. I've heard that some people in polls have suggested that they want comedy shows where we break down and talk about the craft of comedy, kind of like deconstruct comedy. That's currently trending on TikTok. And then I also have a bunch of old comedian friends that I want to bring in. So I may be doing some live events where it is sketch comedians or improvisers I've worked with, and we're breaking down kind of classic comedy from The Simpsons, from movies, famous stand-up bits, famous TV bits. So yeah, check me out. You can ring my bell if you want to follow my content. I do post every day here on LinkedIn. If anybody's interested, check out the videos in my featured section if you want to see more cool sketch comedy that is business related. And also don't forget to subscribe to my podcast so you can catch Chris Sells His Soul. That is my podcast where I edit these visual episodes. I turn them into audio podcasts. I've got 13 episodes there so far from season 1. I've got amazing guests. We talk about comedy, we talk about sales, we talk about video, confidence on camera. We give you everything you need if you want to get started making content that's going to bring in sales. So check me out. I'm on Apple, I'm on Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, wherever you get audio podcasts, you can listen to me there. And this has been Chris Sells His Soul. So thanks for tuning into my first ever solo episode. And I'll see you next week, 3 p.m. every Thursday. Bye now.